about me. I am, in my real job, I'm a professor. And in my other job, I don't want to say my not real job, but my side job, I'm also a member of the media. I host a local talk show that runs in Queens every day called Communication Corner, and I also write for a lot of the local newspapers as well. So as a member of the media, I'm kind of on the other side. Well, I'm a Toastmaster, of course, but then I'm also on the other side in the media. So when we try to get publicity for our clubs in the media, I'm that person who answers the phone usually at the local paper or at the local TV station. And so I know that it can be fraught with challenges from the pitch end, and I also know how it feels to be the one picking up the phone, listening to the pitch. So I'm hoping tonight I can give you a little bit of my own knowledge and expertise, and that we'll get a little bit more Toastmasters out there. So let's begin. Did you know that March of this year, the month that we're in right now, March 2017, is Toastmasters month? Did you know that? Isn't that amazing? Toastmasters has been recognized by Oregon's Governor Kate Brown. She has a proclamation and everything. She has declared March Toastmasters month in Oregon. Masters clubs and joining, or if their business doesn't have a Toastmasters club, they're knocking on the door of HR and asking to start one. So that's the kind of buzz that we ourselves, ordinary Toastmasters like ourselves, we can build with just a few phone calls, emails, and a little bit of persistence. So to start, does anyone know Mario Cuomo? Does anyone know Andrew Cuomo? Anyone know our governor? No? Yes? All right, so we need to get a knock on his door and get July to be Toastmasters month in New York, because I just love that idea. I think it would bring a lot of publicity, of course, to Toastmasters and to New York Toastmasters more specifically. So let's follow their lead. There's a picture of the proclamation on that first slide on your list of slides. There's the official proclamation and everything. How exciting for them. So that brings us to the question on the next slide. How can we Toastmasters get media coverage? Well, first, why is media coverage important? I'm a teacher, I ask questions. Yes.
Attract membership.
Absolutely, to build our brand for both internal and external stakeholders. So to increase our clubs, to start new clubs, and way beyond just the metrics of the numbers, to help other people like we've been helped. I don't know anyone who's a Toastmaster who has not benefited from Toastmasters at work, in their everyday communication with their family or their friends, or even just in feeling more confident or in gaining public speaking or leadership know-how. So we all have benefited from Toastmasters, and so we want to share that with other people as well. And that's where the media comes in. So first thing, I kind of feel like, does anyone remember the 1980s, 1970s TV show? And Mark will remember this one. I just figured I'd shout you out, Mark. Wonderama? Yes? Yes? Oh, Len. Well, they always used to sing, "Kids are people too." No? Do you remember that? Kids are people too. Yes, we are. Well, I've borrowed their mantra from Wonderama, and I have brought it here tonight to say that reporters are people too. Reporters are people too. It's also very small print on that slide of yours. And what do I mean by that? I mean that people call me, and I'm just a member of the local media, and yet people call me all the time to pitch stories, and I don't even know how to say this. Nobody ever asks me how I am. Nobody ever asks me how my day's going, or how my project is going, or how that last story I worked on went, or what I'm looking for. No one ever asks me, and it gives you a little complex. inside. So remember that reporters are people too. So if you get to know a reporter, you can ask them, how was the last story that you wrote? I remember you were working on something else. How did that go? Or even just something like, how is your day going? Just something. Connect with them on a personal level, and that's going to go a long way. Sometimes the phone rings and you don't even want to pick it up because it's someone who just wants to pitch you and doesn't do it well. So we'll get to that in just a moment. But even today, I got a voicemail from someone, and I kid you not, it said, and it's someone I know, she's someone whose events I've covered in the past, and she said, "Hi Gail, this is," I won't say her name, "I'm having an event, I'd love for you to cover it, call me." What event, where, when, and more importantly, why should I care? So you want to fill in those blanks when you leave that voicemail or when you send that email. After, of course, you ask them, how's your day going? That will just leave them warm and fuzzy inside. So before you reach out to the media, you're going to do your due diligence, to use a legal term, and you're going to research your local reporters and find out who is most amenable to stories about your corporate or your community club. So, and then when you find a reporter, you're going to say something like this, and it's on your slide. I saw your article or show or your post on X, so I think you'll be interested in Y. So, I saw your blog post on entrepreneurship, so I think you might be interested in our corporate club because we foster entrepreneurs. But you're going to connect the dots for your local reporter. And so that takes a little bit of digging. You're going to have to research their old stories, their old posts, and then you're going to have to customize or tailor your pitch to their specific needs. Any questions so far? See, I'm a teacher, I do that. All right, so I saw your article, or I saw your show, or I saw your post on X, so I think you'll be interested in Y. That is just, instead of making the reporter kind of connect the dots, you connect the dots for them. And that goes a long way toward getting your club covered. Yes, sir. Carlos.
Is it advisable to leave messages or try to connect to them like live?
Yes, you can absolutely leave a message. When you leave a message, of course, you're going to leave your name, contact info, but also tell them why what you are pitching, so your club, would be important to them. Why the event you're holding is important to their readers. So yes, always leave a message, but make sure you include some information in it, more so than, hey, holla at me, which doesn't really work too well. Other questions? No? All right. So that leads us to the next question, which a reporter is going to ask, which is, why should I cover your club? Really? Why? What's in it for me? Isn't that what everyone always asks? But why should I take my time and cover your story? Why is your story about your club important? So you want to give reporters something to cover. And I know it's written real small, so I'll read this out for you. Give reporters something to cover. First, try having an open house. That works really well with local papers and with local clubs. So with your community club, if you have an open house, be sure to invite all of the local reporters from all of your local papers. Second, have a guest speaker. I love this idea. We do it all the time at my home club. In a corporate club, a guest speaker obviously could be someone like the CFO, someone who people will come to see and connect with on a personal level. That just brings people from all across your organization into one room just to get a little face time with someone who's important in your organization. So if you can have a guest speaker from inside your organization who has some sort of clout, like a CFO, that always brings in the crowds. And of course it brings in the media too, because you'll take pictures and they will all be on your corporate newsletter or on your corporate website. Next, club awards party. If you have a corporate club or a community club and you throw an awards party, again, invite the media. We in the media love to take pictures of people receiving awards, whether it be corporate clubs or community clubs. Just the handing of one of those little Toastmasters ribbons, that just makes such a great picture. It's achievement, and of course, it's great press. Next, a themed meeting, and I kind of give this side eye again to Mark Laverne because I got that from him originally. Meetings with themes are exciting for your members, and your members can bring that excitement out into the community. And a themed meeting is the sort of thing that your local media will love to cover. So, local Toastmasters celebrates Mardi Gras. And it can be something really hokey. It doesn't matter, whatever the theme is. So it can be something great like Black History Month. That's something that's very important and newsworthy. Or something a little bit more hokey like Groundhog Day, et cetera, Halloween. But whatever is important to your club. So if Women's History Month, obviously it's important, and if it's something that you're celebrating in your club, invite the local media. We'd love that. A meeting with a theme. Thank you. That's something that the media loves to cover. And lastly, and this isn't something I've seen done a lot, but if you can host a local debate about a local issue, and that's really for community clubs. So let's say that they want to build, the government wants to build a new pipeline through Main Street, and there's two opposing forces. Your local Toastmasters club can host a debate where the two sides get to debate the issues. And all you really need to do is just provide the space that you already use anyway, maybe some light refreshments, and a timer, and maybe a referee, depending on how heated the debate gets. But it's great press that you guys in your local Toastmasters club got involved in local issues. And we're passionate about these local issues and about your local community to host this kind of local debate. So, and most importantly, your Toastmasters club doesn't need to take a side because you're just the hosts, right? You're just facilitating the event. Any questions? No? Okay, let's move on. Alrighty, so that's why I should cover your club, because it's important, because it's something newsworthy, and especially any kind of special event, invite reporters. So, get to know your reporter. Now, fair disclosure, some people might think that this is stalking, but it's really not. It's just getting to know your local reporters. First, follow your local reporters on social media. Let me flash back a little bit to what I said in the very beginning of this talk. When I answer the phone, the first thing I'm thinking is, what's in it for me, right? So if you follow me on social media, if you've read the articles I've written already, you know what's important to me. You know what I usually write about, so you can pitch to me based on what I like. So if I have written articles before about better public speaking, or about how we are looking for better leaders in our local town or in our community, you can pitch to me, hey, we have this club and it's all about leadership. Why don't you come down? We're having an open house / debate / whatever it is, and see for yourself, see what we're doing for the community. So that's a great way to pitch that. So follow your local reporter on social media, follow them on Twitter. Reporters like to tweet a lot, so it's very easy to figure out what's important to a reporter. Next, personalize your pitch to the reporter or to their beat. Personalize your pitch to the reporter or to their beat. So a lot of times we, Toastmasters, and people looking to get publicity will write a media release, a press release, and we might send it out to 100 different reporters, right? Boom, there we go, I'm done. But the problem with that is that it's not personalized. So instead of sending out a blanket email to 30 reporters, find 1 or 2 local reporters who are more amenable to the message, and then personalize those 1 or 2 emails or those 1 or 2 calls that you make to that particular reporter. That personalization is completely the difference between getting covered and not getting covered. So you've got to personalize the message to the reporter. And remember, answer the questions, why should this interest me? Why should your club interest me? Anyone? Why should your club interest me, Joe reporter, Jane reporter? Why should it interest me?
Can connect to the society very easily.
Yeah, we're connected to the community. Yes, we're part of this community. That should interest you, absolutely. Anything else? Why should your club, your corporate club, your community club, why should it interest me?
Do something newsworthy.
Yeah, okay, because you're doing something newsworthy. Maybe awards, or maybe you have someone who's just achieved a DTM. Absolutely. Anything else?
We're making people better communicators.
Very nice. Yes. With all of this horribleness that's going on in the world, look at what we're doing in our little corner to make society better, right? We're making better communicators. We're making better leaders. What could be more newsworthy than that? With all of the chaos, look at us like a beacon of light shining from the Toastmasters candle. Don't say that to the reporter. That sounds kind of hokey, but you get the idea. Questions? Yes.
It's been said, and I might be throwing you off, but it's been said that the media usually looks for negative stuff, and they're not really interested in positive things or things that are good for the community to a certain extent. How do you deal with those situations?
Thank you, Carlos. Carlos asks, aren't we always looking for the negative? Yes. That's why we say, if it bleeds, it leads in the media. If it bleeds, it leads. So, because we're always looking for blood, guts, gore, terrible things that have happened, house fire, right? These are the things you hear first. When you turn on the evening news, for example, first 5 stories: fire, robbery, armed robbery, bandits, and someone got run over in the street. Because if it bleeds, it leads. But once you get past those lead stories, you're going to find human interest, and that's really what Toastmasters is. We're all about making people better, and that's a great story. In between the front page of a newspaper and the sports page of a newspaper, there's a lot of pages. And most of those pages are filled with human interest stories. And this is human interest at its best. People working toward goals, people achieving those goals, people trying to make themselves better and trying to make other people better as well. I mean, that's human interest at its best. So, yeah, once they get past the bleeding, yeah, that's what people look for first. But then it's human interest. Those are the stories that when you read them or when you see them on television, you get little goosebumps. That's the story that you can really tell with Toastmasters. So if you have a story like that in your local club, then it needs to be told. And so it's incumbent upon us to reach out to the media. Yeah. Welcome back to part 2 of the District 46 Publicity Workshop. I'm your host, Gail Lewis. And in part 1, we talked a little bit about getting your message out there, about how important it is to get media coverage for your local club or your corporate club. We answered the questions, why should a reporter cover your club, and how to connect with the reporter. And so now we'd like to go a little bit deeper about how to get to know your reporter. So we already said we should contact them on social media, follow them on social media, and personalize our pitch to the particular reporter or their beat. Also, next, when you finally get in contact with a reporter that you think will be open to your story about your club, make a quick pitch. You don't want to stay on the phone with them for half an hour explaining all of the little nuances about Toastmasters. Well, you can start with your CC, and the CC is 10 speeches, 1 informative, 1 persuasive, 1 where you use visual aids. You've lost me by then as a reporter. So you don't have to go deep down into the details in the quick pitch. Write down a couple of important bullet points about your club. We were established in 2012. We help the community. We have 35 members, or in Queen's best case, we have more members than we can count. But whatever it is, make those bullet points and use those bullet points in your pitch. And don't get into the minutia of Toastmasters and that opening email or that opening pitch call. That can come later. You can the reporter will ask you, how does it work? What do all these letters behind people's names mean? The reporter will ask you that, and you can answer them after. But when you're making that initial pitch, keep it short, keep it sweet, and think bullet points. Write down the bullet points. We're having an open house, for example, or we're hosting a debate, for example. Whatever it is, write those bullet points down and pitch them to the reporter. So make it a quick pitch. All right? Questions? No? Then the reporter will definitely ask you, where can I find more information about your club? And if you say, well, we haven't updated our Twitter feed, or I think our Facebook page is, but you know you haven't posted on it since 2015, or the website hasn't been updated since 2 VPPRs ago, it's not going to look good for the reporter when they go to find out more information. So before you wind up for the pitch to a reporter, make sure that your social media platforms are all at least a little bit up to date. So we're thinking at least in 2017 at some point that you've posted or that you've updated your Toastmasters website for your club. Because it looks bad for the reporter when they go to find out more information, which they will because they're reporters, to have everything outdated. So make sure everything is up to date. And lastly, under Get to Know Your Reporter, send pictures. Send pictures. At every single meeting, take pictures. Corporate clubs, community clubs, at every meeting, take pictures. They can be in front of the room next to the banner picture with all of the people who spoke that day. Or maybe the people who got their CCs or their DTMs take pictures. Or 2 people who gave their icebreaker speeches. Whatever it is, take pictures. And of course, post them on all of your social media and send them to the same local reporters that you've identified. Reporters love pictures. We don't have to do anything. We just need to submit them with a little caption. It makes life so easy. And every local reporter from every newspaper loves pictures of local people smiling, local people achieving. We will almost always print them. So whatever your local paper is, send those pictures to your local papers. And of course, post them on social media. And in your corporate clubs, make sure that you send all of those pictures to HR. HR loves pictures of people with ribbons, people shaking hands, people looking very businesslike, doing things that make them better leaders. HR loves that. So make sure every time you take those pictures after a meeting that they go straight off to HR.